All right, we are ready to rock and roll for this Thursday's Plant Power Half Hour. We're talking about the same book, going a little bit deeper again. It all began in the garden. So this week we're covering 4 different plants, and all 4 of these can actually be combined in some way, shape, or form to alleviate bug stuff. How else to say that? It'll help soothe bugs that get you, and it'll help keep bugs away if they're attacking you as we're coming into this summer season. So, are you excited about talking about insects today, Paula?
Yes, because it's time. Last night was the first night that I was out that I was like, oh, I am really irritated by these pests. Otherwise, in the beginning of the spring, I love it because they aren't around as much. But now that we've finally been getting some rain, they've been popping up like crazy. So yeah, citronella is our first one, and that's usually the first one everyone thinks of as well. But the traditional citronella candles really don't have a lot of citronella in them. They only can have maybe 5% of citronella oil, and then they have a lot of other stuff in them. The other stuff that's in them is sometimes what can be actually harmful to our bodies. So, as natural as citronella is itself, we really need to be careful about what it's mixed with, how it's used, what we're doing with it, and pay some close attention to it. Citronella essential oil directly or citronella plants have a great impact. Putting them around your patio, utilizing them in the oil in a diffuser on your patio, yeah, that can be a big helper.
Not only
How
does citronella have adulterated stuff, any bug spray, if we look at
Mhm.
some of those commercial brands of bug spray that we're buying and then we're lathering it up and we're spraying it on, there are carcinogens. There's a direct connection between a lot of insect repellents. So using something in a more, I'll use the word natural, even though natural can include arsenic and other things, but using products that have safer ingredients, let's state it that way. There
Yeah.
are many companies that make products that are safer ingredients, but are they the safest ingredients? And essential oils, I think, move into that safest ingredient category. At least in my book, they do. And then you can use carrier oils or other methods to spray it on, creating a spray using witch hazel and adding your essential oils to it, or using vodka as a base or distilled water to disperse that on your skin, or even mixing those essential oils in with a lotion like a shea butter or an um, unscented, good quality lotion, putting your drops in there and using that as a lotion to apply it. So there's lots of different ways to use it. People say, well, it's just so easy to grab that can of bug spray. It's like, yeah, but it's not easy to deal with the consequences of that when you're putting all those chemicals into your body. So that's a really valid point. Just because it says citronella and citronella is an essential oil that's good for this, doesn't mean that the product that you're buying that has that in there is the best available for you.
Yeah, it's sad. We have to do our homework on the companies that we're buying from. But once you find the ones that are safe and that you love, then it's easy. Just utilize those products. Citronella oil, of course, for bugs. But have you ever used it for perfume?
No, but it's in the same family as ylang ylang, so you could, I guess.
So I've never considered it for anything other than bugs and either putting it on myself or diffusing it. Um, until recently, I've been reading about how it can be used as a perfume, and it actually has beautiful emotional benefits as well. So, smelling citronella can actually assist with cleansing negative emotions like sadness, anxiousness, and anger. I'm like,
Now
oh,
there's that.
that's fabulous. So, um, adding that or being able to smell that or putting it on yourself when you're having some of those tough days, that would help. And then I tried to think, well, have I ever felt those emotions when I wore citronella as a bug repellent?
Yeah.
Like, no, I've always felt happy when I'm out. I haven't felt angry or anxious um when I'm outside wearing citronella. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to research that and play with that a little bit more. But I found that fascinating that, of course, well, we know all scents have a response in our brain, in our amygdala center, and the scent and emotion can be tied together really well. But I never really connected the dots for it with citronella. So I found that to be fascinating. But it's definitely my go-to for insect repellents. That's the first one that I'll try when I need that support.
When we go camping, I used to camp a lot more. I would wash all the clothes in it. I would use it in make my own laundry soap and then use citronella as a base in there and a few other essential oils in with the powdered laundry soap and then wash all the clothes in it. So not only are you putting it on, you're doing that. You can even put it in your shampoo or your body lotions before you bathe when you go. Anything to help when you're camping and you're out there nonstop and being attacked by bugs.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a great idea. Layer it in many ways is super
Mhm.
helpful. So the other plant that I just grabbed this weekend to plant in my patio area is lemongrass.
Mm.
Lemongrass is another one for helping us with taking care of bugs as well. How do you feel about lemongrass, Lisa?
Actually, citronella is in the lemongrass family. It's not ylang ylang. I think of it with ylang. I don't know why I thought that it was related to ylang ylang somehow, but aren't those both citrodora class? The Latin name I think for lemongrass and citronella. I think they share the same family name there.
Mhm.
Lemongrass is amazing. I love the stalk of it. If you do Thai food at all, growing your own lemongrass is so easy. It grows, like we call them weeds. Most of the herbs people call weeds, but it's a functional weed because it's so flavorful and powerful, and you just need a little bit of it when you're cooking with it because it's so strong. And you can even use the essential oil because it comes in um, a vitality wrapper, meaning that it's safe to use for internal use or generally regarded as safe for internal use. But that plant is just fabulous, and using it as a centerpiece in a big pot with all the other herbs around it. And you have so much abundance from growing those in a pot and, throw in a little lemon balm. You could make it whole lemon thyme, lemon balm, lemon grass, all, that lemony flavors. Who needs sugar laden lemonade when you have all these lemony tasting herbs that you can throw in, a pitcher and make some sun tea out of, and, maybe add some local honey. Yum.
Yeah.
Where does my brain go?
Oh, treats. That sounds great. Yeah. Lemongrass is great for repelling mosquitoes. However, it attracts bees. So, depending on which pests are prevalent in your backyard, it may be you may need to look at different options for which oil is to your garden or area. Having lemongrass in some of those areas is going to be a beautiful support for pollinators there as well. But for me, keeping the mosquitoes away is the priority. That's where I'm going to focus on is lemongrass. Lemongrass everywhere.
Yeah. And I think that, mixing the oils, because not all, there's so many different varieties of mosquitoes, and lemongrass doesn't keep away all those different types of mosquitoes. There's certain types of mosquitoes that it will help to repel. And so that's why we use a blend of essential oils when we're building our own pest repellents, because we want to make sure that we're addressing multiple different issues with that. Some things can actually repel ticks too, and so having all of those different things in your recipe will help help ensure that it works. Because I hear people say, "Oh, I tried that and it didn't work. I went back to the old stuff." And it's like, yeah, there's kind of it's a little bit of a niche that you need to come up with the right repellent, because depending on where you are in the country, depending on the time of the year, there's different mosquitoes that are hatching and there's different insects that are, bugging us, so to speak. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes we need a few different types of insect repellent to figure
Mhm.
out what's going to work at that time of the year.
Yeah, she's got a great recipe in the book too that has a good combination of how many drops of this type or that type of oil. It'll be really helpful to figure that out. Start there and then customize it for your area. If you're finding, oh yeah, I'm attracting a little bit more of these sweat bees or wasps, I'm going to tweak it a little bit differently so that it's not drawing them to me.
Yeah, she has
Uh,
some geranium in there so that it makes it smell good. Spearmint, thyme, clove.
mhm.
Lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So lemongrass, I was really impressed. The massage therapist I used to go to uses essential oils in all of her massages. And
Mhm.
one of her go-tos is lemongrass for
Yeah.
muscle aches and body aches. Um, Again, I had associated it more with pests than muscles. So when she brought it out and said, let's try this today, I was like, really? But it was amazing. It made such a difference. And the book, she tells a story about a testimony with her husband and his feet and ankle issues and what they tried lemongrass for, and fabulous. Like, it has such great properties that it can help soothe those aching muscles and get to deep into them. So she also has a beautiful muscle relief massage oil recipe in here too, combining lemongrass, lavender, peppermint, helichrysum, and almond oil. So yeah, so many versatile ways to use an oil. We often just think of the first one
Mhm.
and we forget about the others. So I love reading her book because she talks about the variety of ways to use these oils too. So this is fun bringing these
Yeah.
back to awareness. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have my usual go-tos for muscle, but I had to put lemongrass back in the mix again. I forgot about it.
Think of lemongrass for ligaments, and people who have,
Oh,
they're sitting at the computer or whatever. I used to make some roller balls for folks that have those struggles with from using
yeah.
overusing their fingers. I don't want to
Hmm.
use the disease name here, but it does help. It soothes and softens up those tendons and ligaments and helps to release some of that tension that you feel in those areas without having surgery. So some people, depending on the severity of the pain that they have, can oftentimes use a lemongrass. In a roller ball, a lemongrass formula with a carrier oil, and just roll it on, and they notice a huge difference in relief, along all of those tendons
Hmm.
that can cause difficulty if you're sitting at a computer for a long period of time, or overusing your hands, whatever job that might be, painting as well, or think of those things where we're overexerting, we're overusing, and we just need to relax that tissue, relax those muscles, relax the ligaments and the tendons in our arms and legs too. I mean, you said ankles and feet, that could work in those ligaments and tendons as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's basil. Basil is another one for bug issues too.
Start
Um,
by just rubbing it on. I would grab a handful. I worked in a community garden, helped to start a community garden, and one year we did an entire section. I think we had 12 different types of basil plants. So cinnamon basil, Thai basil, all the different kinds of basil. And when you would go out there, you could just grab a handful of leaves because those plants got huge there in Wisconsin. And you just rub the basil leaves on and it releases the oil, and you could use it to keep the pests away while you're out in the community garden. So lazy herbalist, I talk about that all the time, being a lazy herbalist. Once you know how to use things, they're just readily available to you. So, and then put it in your lemonade. That's my favorite, basil blueberry lemonade.
ooh, yeah.
Drink your
Strawberry
lemonade and swish the
basil.
bugs away. Oh, you like
Hmm.
strawberry with your strawberry basil?
Yeah, yeah. That's That's a beautiful one. Smelling basil, she also references, can increase mental alertness. It's great for focus. So it actually is in one of the blends that I have here with that basil scent in it. And the first time I tried it, I was like, oh, this smells like something in the kitchen. It was interesting to see. I think it has basil and rosemary in it, but just that clarity, that sharpness that I liked with it, smelling those scents adds a
Yeah.
lot too. And you just don't think about these things in different combinations, like we talked about earlier. So versatile, so many uses in
Yeah.
different ways.
Basil's a great headache remedy too. You know, when you're outside and a little bit of heat exhaustion, putting that in your water does help with that. And then basil's also used in the raindrop process, the raindrop um oils.
Mhm.
And so it's used along the spine to help soothe and clean up the toxins along the spinal cord. So yeah, from internal to external to bugs, it's like basil's a multi-purpose oil that can be used for so many different things. Definitely one that you want to have in your top 20, in my opinion.
Mhm. It is a hot oil, so it definitely needs to be
Mhm.
diluted when you're using it topically, though.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
intense. Yeah. Um,
That's why you
oh,
use the leaves. The
yeah,
leaves are
yeah.
not nearly as intense when you're brushing the leaves on you, but
Mm-hmm. I know why I had strawberry basil on my mind is because
why?
her recipe
Does
in
she
here
have one in?
is a strawberry basil lemon mint water. So she's got
Mhm.
all the goodies all ready to go in there. But yeah,
Perfect
super
hot weather
tasty.
for recipe.
Mhm. And then the last one that we're going to talk about today is davana. Davana's um, native to India. It belongs to the daisy family. And there's also new research coming that references that this can also be a great one for insect repellent as well. More commonly, though, it's used as a perfume because of how the scent changes with the body chemistry. So putting it on the body smells a whole lot different than just smelling it from the bottle. So um, interesting to see how it can be so pleasing on the body, yet also push away the pests that we don't want.
Yeah.
So versatile as we're using these.
Never used this oil. What do you like best about it?
You know, initially I just bought it as another option for bugs. Like as I'm trying to
Okay.
perfect what's the best thing for my backyard, you know, adding this in, utilizing this. But it kind of reminds me of like a softer vanilla. It's not
Ah,
as sweet as vanilla, but it's much softer compared to citronella, which is a much stronger, like lemony, like more intense scent. This
mhm.
one is a much softer scent.
Yeah, it
So this
says in
one,
here it
yeah.
adapts to the your personal scent, and it's an interesting top note. So it's very light and kind of can evaporate. You'll want to mix it with something maybe, a carrier oil or something to hold it in place. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've never even smelled it. So that was a fun one. Somebody been doing this for so long. It's like there's still new things that you can learn, things that I never heard of it before until I saw it in this book, and I haven't ordered it yet, but it's definitely something I want to try. So I'm glad that you've had that experience with it and were able to use it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one. It's not as pungent. It does not need to be diluted with anything else. It's gentle on the skin
Yeah,
too. So I can definitely see combining it into a perfume spray, like you mentioned, with some other things would be awesome.
very nice. What's your favorite combination? I kind of being the lazy herbalist, I will grab the bottle of Young Living Purification and kind of go, yeah, it's all in there. So, sometimes you can use some of those the formulas that are already combined, the blends that are already combined, and then, a little carrier oil goes a long way. Grab some lotion and put it on there. Or I'll maybe mix it in with my homemade sunscreen, those scents in with my sunscreen. So I'm kind of getting a 1-2 punch with sunscreen and pest repellent. But how do you use yours? Like, what is your favorite way to use your oils? And do you have a specific recipe that you use besides, the one that she talks about in here?
My first go-to, if
Yeah.
I have it, is Young Living's insect repellent. It's already combined with sesame seed oil, which is a natural repellent already. But then also all of these oils are in the right combination and really strong in there. So it comes in a bottle. It's an oil, so it's rubbing a lot on your skin. I actually just put it in a roller so that I can just roll it on quick if I'm going to run out, and then it's not all over my hands. So I can swipe my neck, my wrists, my ankles if I'm just going to be out for a little bit. If I'm going to be out for hours, then I'll actually get it on my hands and rub it into everywhere I need. For making my own, I do a big combination of things, of citronella, lemongrass, basil, peppermint, geranium. And there's two other ones in there that I'm not thinking of at the moment. But it's definitely one that I've tried a few times and then figured out, okay, which pests were still around. And then just reading in my books of like, okay, what helps get rid of those pests? Add a little bit more of that so that they're not coming to me. But otherwise, I diffuse on my patio all the time. Oh, whatever the season is, usually I'm focused on mosquitoes in the evening.
Do you have any success or any thoughts about ticks? I know in the Midwest, I'm in Florida now, but boy, when I was hiking up there, when I lived up there, I would duct tape my pants to socks and yeah, and you can see them like as you're walking through the woods, there are just so many
Yeah,
ticks,
yeah.
especially this time of the year. Any thoughts on wood ticks at all?
Purification is my go-to
Okay.
for that.
Yeah.
So getting purification on my feet because it's going to soak into my skin. It's going to make my skin like not friendly to
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
hanging out.
That's
So I
nice too.
get that when I'm going to be outside regularly in the long grasses, getting it onto my feet, letting my body absorb it. Um, but yes, that is in my bug spray recipe too. I forgot about that one. Thank you.
Purification.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just been my go-to because I get mosquitoes don't like me. I'm sour, so I don't I don't have as many issues with mosquitoes, but boy, wood ticks, I swear I'm a magnet for them. I can go out there, it's like one of them on me. They don't usually get on because I wear longer sleeves and I wear longer pants. Like I said, but I wear light colors so you can see them. You can see them when
Yeah.
they're on you. And so that's spring, early spring. I love to hike early spring and seeing all those spring beauties coming up and the plants that are just popping through. That was my favorite time to go hiking in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And it was also my least favorite because of the wood ticks.
Yeah. 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 Experiment, find the one that's right for you and for your area. That definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Final thoughts on today's herbs.
I'm excited about taking this another step. My focus is the bugs, but it's beautiful that these also have some emotional benefits to help get rid of some negativity and just help lift our spirits a little bit in the meantime. And of course, being out in nature lifts your spirits already. So it's a win-win combination in my book.
Yeah. Well, we hope we've inspired and encouraged you again to try some of these things in a different way. We've talked about them in our salads and cooking with them in our foods. We've talked about creating cleaning products with it. The diversity of this. Start to build up your essential oil cabinet, if you will. We have a medicine cabinet where we keep all those things, but what about our essential oil cabinet? Everything that we could possibly need can come from an essential oil, from bug spray to a tension headache to massage oil for discomfort throughout the season when you're out there working in the garden. There's so many benefits of using products that are safer to use, easy to use, and just need a couple of home remedies, and you can mix them in so many different combinations. So keep trying them, keep coming back. We'll have more ideas for you next week. I'm not even going to tell you what those herbs are. You'll have to show up to be surprised. But I know we'll have some creative ideas. So we'd love to see you again next week. Thanks all for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you when we see you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.